so I don't remember what year it was when I first met Cuong. I was on tour and he was on tour, and we ended up on the same gig in Italy. And you know, it was like, wow, that's the first time I heard him play live, and it was like, whoa, this is, you know, beautiful, like something else, you know. He's got his own thing going. I mean, I'd heard little bits on recordings and stuff, and then, so that was our first just brief meeting. Then some years later, he came to visit Seattle, and he's talking about moving to Seattle, and wow, this would be awesome, because you know, to have a force like that close by.
It's a real honor to be able to be around Bill, much less get to play with him. I think that already it's already happening, but like as time goes on, definitely he's going to be regarded as one of the guitar guys who changed the history of guitar. And
playing with Bill is both unbelievably easy and like a complete challenge at the same time. And what I mean by that is, it's easy because his musicianship, his ears are at the highest level, and he just makes everything sound great. But it's hard because I get the sense that his imagination, you know, through his musicality and his experience, is so vast and broad that I sometimes feel the limitations of what I know is possible. And so it's this great challenge to try and push yourself further and discover a new way that the music can go. And you know, Bill is always right there to be there with you and make it all work. So that's inspiring.
I mean, I have been a huge fan of Bill's ever since I started playing guitar when I was a young teenager. And so getting the chance to play with him was really exciting, but also kind of terrifying, especially when I'm playing guitar, more things that he's really good at. But it's really easy to do because he has a way of, you know, framing everything, framing what you do and responding to it in a way that just ties everything together. And so
the great thing about playing with him especially is that he has this vibe about how we're all in this together, you know, and he has kind of like this self-effacing kind of thing, but it's positive where it feels like we're on equal footing, and it's really cool. But then always in the back of my mind, it's like, oh my God, I'm playing with this legend, you know. So this is a really cool thing for me.
But when Cuong came, what I'm trying to get to is when he came to Seattle, it was like really a great infusion of energy and inspiration. You know, he really, it was like some real blood and energy came into what was happening around here with the students at the university, and he really fired things up in an awesome way. And so through that, that's where I first heard and met Luke Bergman. And that has also become a really, you know, then with Luke I started doing, you know, we started doing other things together. It's just all these strands started coming together, and you know, they've all, Luke, Ted, Cuong, that we've all, you know, it's friendship, but then we'd all get together and like I've played with all of them in different, like we just get together to practice. Like when Ted first moved to Seattle, I was like, oh, far out, you know, he lives close by, and I'd go over and we'd just play, or get together with Luke and play, or just get together with Cuong and play tunes. And so all that stuff starts, it's like don't know what you call it, the food for something else, you know, like even just practicing together and stuff. That's been going on for a while. And
Cuong used to be my mentor, I should say, and he really challenged me to try getting deeper into improvising, and yeah, really opened up a lot of ideas for what to do in a setting where you don't know what to do. But yeah, he's always kind of been pushing me a little bit to go to the next level or something. So I've always really appreciated his influence in my music.
Luke Bergman was a student in his last year at the University of Washington when I started my first year teaching there. And, you know, I was already pretty into his playing by then, at that time. But through that 1 year, some of the things that I brought from my experiences musically, I think really helped him think about different things that then brought him over more into my world. And so I feel like because of that, we're able to make music together really well. Aside from being a fantastic musician, you know, anytime you get with a really great musician, you're going to be able to make some pretty good music. But this is like a little deeper in that I feel like he understands how I think about things. And with Ted, who's been in my trio for now, it seems like 15 or more years, I met him when I think it was before he even turned 21. I heard about him because through the grapevine in New York, people were talking about, oh, there's this young drummer at Eastman who's playing with Ben Monder. Ben Monder loves him. And Ben Monder writes really hard music, so everyone was talking about him, and I needed to find a new drummer. And I got his email, wrote to him and said, hey, are you that guy? So we did a session, and the way we played together and the language that we immediately started to form was pretty connected to me, in my opinion. And then with Stomo, it was just perfect. It was like the perfect blend of guys for me to work with. And so now, you know, Ted and Luke have their own chemistry. Ted, Luke, and Bill have their own chemistry. They've done trio things together. So there's a lot of cross-pollination here that seems like it's coming out of almost the same place. So I think hopefully the record will reflect that.
Cuong and I have now played together going on 14, 15 years, I guess. And throughout it, and to this day, it feels very natural to play together, which would not necessarily be a foregone conclusion, because I feel like we're both, you know, significantly different musicians now than when we first started playing. Just in all the music that we've played separate from one another in that time has affected who we are, and we do have different interests in some respect. We have a lot of shared interests as well, but there's nothing like having a long-standing musical relationship with somebody, and the level of sort of nuance and the depth of communication that develops over that amount of time is something you can't replicate without putting in the time.
I mean, even with my own trio, we played together for so long that we can take 2 years off and come back, and it's still kind of the same. And the cool part about it is that each of us matures, and then, you know, we take different chances, but the listening and everything else and the way we approach things together is the same. So with this group, it's new. So we kind of just scratched the surface for that last record, and now we're discovering new ways of interacting with each other, and it's a really nice, fresh feeling of kind of researching the music together. Like,
I've been playing with Cuong and Ted for quite a while now, and maybe 10 years or so, and Bill I've been playing with for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, and we've all played together in a bunch of different capacities, and it just made sense to form a quartet and to each bring in some music and try to see what it would sound like when all 4 of us are playing together and bringing in our own thing. And yeah, I think it's working.
And we've all spent so much time trying to figure out what we're doing, try to figure out the music, and then you come together, and it's like you're sort of, everybody's learning from each other, I think, all the time. So that's the best thing. That's why I do this.